It was the night of one of our monthly meetings of the Los Angeles chapter of the Society of Broadcast Engineers. This time, we met at the Los Angeles facility of SiriusXM. We had dinner and a short business meeting talking about some topics related to the Los Angeles area. Once the business was completed, we began our tour. The facility has 5 talk studios like this one on their floor. They are all about the same footprint. The booths were built by a company called Quiet Star Industries. The studios have a board-op, producer, and 5 talent positions. Each studio has a Lavo Ruby console, which has the ability to be remotely controlled. During the pandemic, the producers were working from home and controlling the consoles using their VizTools software. The remote hosts were connecting in via Comrex access to give them the low-latency, high-quality audio that they needed to do their shows. When automation is needed, SiriusXM uses RCS's Zeta. Speaking of computers, almost all of the computers in the studios are virtualized machines to reduce the workload on keeping things up to date. The studios all have broadcast-quality pan-tilt zoom cameras in them that all tie to a state-of-the-art video production room on the first floor. I was a bit surprised that your typical broadcast microphones weren't used in the construction of this facility. They used Heil PR40 microphones, which are good microphones, but not something you traditionally see in a broadcast-style facility. The mic arms are all Yellowtech mica arms, which are my favorite. They just look so clean. There are screens throughout the studio for branding, but they do have the ability to add a TV feed from Dish Network if they needed it. There's also a screen for the host to be able to see remote guests on Zoom or however they're coming in remotely. And one cool little feature that is there is the light behind the chair railing on the wall. It allows them to set the mood in the room. The studios also have one neat feature that I'll let our tour guide talk about.
Had a lot of racier shows. The one John does is pretty racy as well. But we added in a feature so they could have a little bit of privacy. So and it's triggered from...
We ventured downstairs to the performance space where many musical artists have performed. During the pandemic, Howard Stern, for example, did his show remotely from his home with the artist side in the performance space. It was all tied together seamlessly, and most people didn't know any different.
I must say, I watched the Miley and Metallica video on YouTube. I never knew that they were here in LA and on Howard's show. I mean, it was so seamless. The intercommunication with them was, I thought they were in his studio. I just never, until I saw Steve Herbert.
Howard was in the Hamptons. We were broadcasting from 1221 in New York, and the band was here. Same thing actually with Green Day. And Green Day was the one where Howard actually came out. So they flipped this whole studio into his studio. And Green Day was in that corner, Howard was sitting right there. But the Metallica and Miley one was in the middle of the pandemic. And Howard was in the Hamptons at his house. And he was actually, we brought him up on that screen so Miley and Metallica could see him. And they performed right there.
You know, I didn't even realize he wasn't in his. It looked exactly like his regular studio.
That's
I mean,
the
I'll have to
idea.
look more carefully. I have to look more carefully now that I didn't know what happened behind the curtain.
Yeah, and you'll see it if the video pops up again. You'll see him in a box, and like Robin was at her house in her box, and.
And that's it. That's the tour of SiriusXM. That was so cool. Really neat to see other people's studio space and how they do things. So, until then, see you next time.